Hello and welcome to Dongamet channel. And how do you like the still life this evening? I think we got a little bit of motion on the camera there. Anyway, I could tidy, but that would leave me with less time to waste. So I have a presentation in mind. And earlier I went out and played around with some dead pines that were out in the woods. I got some footage, and that needs to be bounced down into a coherent video. So this video will probably go up first before that one. But right at the end there, it started raining. I was walking down the path alone, and I came upon another dead pine that had this growth on it. I must have noticed the thing before. I've been past there a number of times, but I suddenly found myself looking at it like, well, surely this is like a burl. It's a pine burl, which I've never even heard of a pine burl before. But I managed to chip it out. That's where it came unstuck with the tomahawk there, and not do too much damage. I went in a little hard on this side here, but obviously when I saw that, I thought knife handle. Now it could be something else, I guess. But first of all, I have the idea to just carve into it and see what we can see. And so the last couple of days I've been playing around with some auto knives. These two new ones I got. And that put me in mind to make a video about auto knives and whittling, because it's kind of a curiosity in a way, I suppose, the notion of using, tuning an auto knife for whittling in particular, or purchasing even. But these are, well, most of the knives that I buy, I think one of the things I'm going to end up doing with them is working wood. So different blades work wood in different ways, and so therefore they can facilitate different aspects of the woodworking task, So for example, this one, the largest on the table, just really got this out and started testing today. It's called the Defiant 7, and it's in Magna Cut steel. And I believe the chassis is aluminium, kind of a clamshell thing, pretty tidy. There's your plunge lock, nice big chunky stop pin. And I guess they glued on a layer of some kind of composite that has this matte texture. It's very nice, but it's kind of uneven. This is the kind of the kind of thing that made the person who let go of this knife let go of it. This kind of has this flaw here. Doesn't really affect anything in use. Lockup is solid. Well, actually, I did start to get a little side-to-side play, but that wasn't there earlier. So I think that just developed because of me whacking on hemlock and I loosened it up. So I gotta do that. But now this, looks to me like definitely would have a woodsy application, but I see myself more like stripping a pole with this, making a big pointy stick kind of thing. It's not quite so it's not quite so whittlesome, let's say. Oh, look who came into the picture. Oh no, that's something else. Yeah, we won't bother with that. Whittlesome, good carving, good edge stability. Yeah, this'll does that beautifully. See, this is nice and soft. It's very thin behind the edge, and it's a good tough steel, and I would imagine they got a good hard heat treatment on it. A reputable maker or brand, I suppose. RMJ Tactical. Comparing this to the one that I've been playing around with, I made a short with this yesterday. And then today, I like to record the knife in original condition as well before I start to go in and mess everything up, you know. Yeah, so blending the bevels, thinning out, convexing, all that kind of thing. And I felt like it wasn't cutting in quite as keenly as this one initially, but then it would cut in deeper. So then again, since then I redid the edge on this. And yeah, now it's just next level. Yeah, right, because I redid the edge. And now I'm carving pine, which I practically never carve pine. I carve hardwoods. And this feels very cuttable. Yeah, so this is kind of my blade of the moment now. I also got that Demco 8020. I didn't feel so inclined to play around with that, with the geometry. It's pretty much tuned perfectly, right? So I just kind of want to use it. But, oh, this smells divine. Yeah. This was very thick. This was kind of between 30 and 40 thousandths behind the edge. So definitely a prime candidate for this kind of going towards a kind of a hamaguri grind, you know, a fully convexed primary bevel here, you know, no secondary. I chewed into this flat here a little bit with the wheel at the start, and there's still some scratches from that in there. But up here at the edge, we're running Arkansas Soft. I watched a video from Knife Sharpening Norway, and I also read a little exchange in the comments section there, and well, he's advocating for the use of a natural stone for finishing, and he really likes the Japanese natural stones, and but especially something called La Lune, which I guess is like a slate, a kind of slate. And you know, the question is, well, what if you're doing a super steel? What about your vanadium carbides and your matrix and your yada yada? Well, he says, yeah, just you cut your form on diamonds, and then just use the natural stone at the end to finish. And so I pretty much did that, but I rode the bevels, you know. So that's the finish of the, you know, where it's not scratched. That's the finish I got off a soft Arkansas with mineral oil. And it's a beautiful edge as well of this stone now. Yeah, really. Whittles smoothly. It will slice kitchen roll cleanly top to bottom. Yeah. You know, this thing's just so whittleable. Look at how grippable and kind of, you know, this part I could be chopping out with an axe, you know, but I'm just kind of on a bit of an adventure here. You know, once we uncover all the grain, it's going to get interesting around there. And yeah, I want to try and make it into a kind of a, well, handle, basically, I guess, you know, without removing too much, but it's a big chungus thing, right, for now. So the other, I just love this, but I'll put that away for a minute. This one I've had for quite a lot longer, as these two. You know, these are a couple of years I've had them all, maybe. And this is a Cobra Tech. This has really, I don't know, I was playing around with them before, and nothing beats the action on this for an auto that I've tried for an out-the-side auto. You can, it's a bolster deployment, so you slide it over, and if you do that, it's more conventional, right? You get the thunk on the stop pin there, but it's actually just kind of easier and nicer to just slide like that, and then it chuck. And this blade, it's D2 steel, claimed. I even kind of have my doubts now, actually, because it's parts made in China, and I think maybe they assemble them in the US or whatever. But This would be a Chinese D2 then, right? And a Chinese D2 may not be D2, but it may be something actually better, you know? Because this always kind of surprised me how smooth a whittler it is for the supposed, nasty grain structure D2. It's also possible that it is real D2 and they'd got a really good heat treatment on it. It's good and hard. Tested that with my file testing kit, and it's definitely in the 60 range. And so this, again, much like my Best Tech Thyra, this comes with this thick, it's a very slender blade in this direction, but quite thick stalk, and this thick old saber grind on it that I just thinned out massively and blended to 0. Never really polished on this one, but that Arkansas stone would probably do a nice job on this. But this thing whittled, carving like this, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Probably best on the table by a long shot because it's got everything. The ergos are really good, classic. You can grip this any old way you like. Pocket clip's not too bad, it's quite all right. Nestles in there. It works well in the trousers as well. Possibly the best pocket clip on the table too. Really awesome, cool, great knife. They also make them in CPM 154. You have all different kinds of handles. This is I think it's a rare one. It's ebony handle, but they have like abalone and all kinds of good stuff. And what was it? Yeah. Here's how you get in. Yeah, that's Gunji. So I experimented with the tightening it up before. But you get in there, you tune it, and then when you put it all back together, it changes. So it's a real hassle to try and get this thing dialed in. And it has now side to side and front to back play. And that is annoying if you want to whittle. Now, you can overcome a lot of that annoyance, especially when you grip like this. And it's not such a big deal. And, for an old timer who's used to using whatever, a slip joint or a lock back that's got a bit of play now over its all its years of use or whatever, it's not such a big deal. But I really like the firm lockup, the feel of the rock solid lockup. And I guess that's probably a little harder maybe to achieve on an auto knife, I would guess. Going by experience. Especially the old ones tend to have a lot of wiggle room. But yeah, lockup on this one in principle was good. So and then these guys good too. These little Kershaws. This one I even removed the pocket clip just to favor the ergos. It's like a tiny Pucco, this one. This is a spectacular whittler if you want that, if you want to work in the round. Where you need that point or whatever. Yeah, I messed it up a bit, finish-wise. And I also have a green one of these that I handed over to my wife that has the CPM 154 blade, and that's probably better than this Damascus. And my wife likes black, so maybe I can do a blade switch one of these days. I can make a couple of little cuts here, see. Maybe try around here. I'm loath to cut into it, but we're going to have to do it, right, sooner or later. And this is like a barky layer on the outside for now. So yeah, now I'm working in the round. This thing's cool. These guys are little 3-finger whittlers. But yeah, nothing to stop you from getting choked up. Great, just a really great performer. Awesome pruner as well. You can prune the crap out of whatever. That's thin diameter, obviously. Well, you get pretty thick with that too, if you know what you're doing. And then this thing, like I say, it's like a little mini Pucco. Okay, yes, it's not a proper Scandi grind, but actually the final grind is at a very close angle to the secondary bevel here, you know, so it basically feels like you lay flat and then you cut, you know? It's just awesome. This thing's great, you know. But obviously, yeah, for this would be good for getting your detail work, you know, if I want to like follow these contours here instead of overcoming them, then this is like a good one for that. Stuff's wacky. I'm still getting through the barky layer. So we're getting some wood. Yeah, okay, now I'm dug in. Oh, chill. Chill. Let me go back to my current number one here. Oh. You know, so here, I thought of a thing. A blade, huh? What profile? What blade profile? What blade profile? Blade profile. Also blade profile. Lower point on this one. Yeah, so this is a little more kind of straight before the belly there. Okay, I'm going to make a flat here. So this gray color seems like it's going to give way to more of that salmon pinky pine color. That feels like cork. That's going to be tough on an edge. Just because of how punky it is. Well, I don't know if I wanted to say anything else about the matter. Why use an auto knife for whittling? Because it's the one you have. Because it's got a good blade for it. It's got the right blade for the particular carving task to hand. Because you're testing the knife. And what better way to test your knife than by carving wood? Yeah, enjoyment, availability, but also like I like to be able to just up and whittle. You know, I don't know even know if that's a good thing, right? But let's say after lunch, you know, you're digesting. Maybe instead of immediately making a cigarette, maybe I'll just grab the spoon I just ate with, whip a knife out of my pocket, you know, and get to whittling. And any of these modern knives, or even a slip joint or a friction folder, or whatever you have, it's going to get out of your pocket and open up pretty easily. But if it's the touch of a button, it is that much easier. And if you're going to do that, whatever, 20 times in a day, maybe it just makes a little difference at the end of the day. I enjoy the walk and talk on a slip joint. I enjoy the flipper tab on a flipper, or the thumb studs, or the playing around, can you spidey flick it? Of course, all that stuff. Actually, something nice I realized about this, I got it out to open it earlier, and I just kind of went like this intuitively. And that's a lovely opening. It's very soft and gentlemanly. You just walk the blade out, you don't have to put your effort into it. And presumably that would be a little kinder on the knife as well to do it like that. This is all still the tree part of the deal. This is something else. Put some sweat on it. Yeah, could make for a nice knife handle yet. I'm going to keep going. Enjoy your whittling. Bye.